Okay, I felt like doing another tier list. So, I'm gonna do my favorite Tales games. Now, I need to state up front, the last Tales game I played was Tales of the Abyss. And that was because everything after that just looked the same and they just followed the same format, and I wanted nothing else to do with the series. So, keep in mind, I will not be rating any of the games after Tales of the Abyss because I didn't play any of them, and I don't care to play them, and I will never play them. And just keep that in mind. I am never touching them. So, just to state that up front. So, let's go in order of release. So, Tales of Phantasia, S. I never played the Super Famicom version. I beat the PlayStation version a few times. I was playing the full voice version on PSP recently. Um, I'm not a big fan of the full voice version only because the voice actor for Dals had I forgot if he was dead at that point or if yeah, he was already dead, so they couldn't use him again. So they used a different person, and I don't think he fit the character very well. But also, my first experience with the Tales series was Phantasia. On the PlayStation, was the PlayStation remake, and I really do like it. I like the ending because it makes you think, right? It's not uh, it's not it's not just some cookie cutter happy ending kind of thing. It kind of makes you think about your actions throughout the game. It's a very, very good ending. So I definitely think it's one of the best Tales games ever. Now next, so I'm this will be Tales of Destiny. Now I'm gonna have to qualify my low ranking of it. Okay, so it's a B, and I'm gonna qualify this. Um, I played Tales of Destiny after I'd played Tales of Phantasia, so I played the Tales of Phantasia actually makes the PlayStation version of Destiny look kind of weak, and because the way you can combo better in Tales of Phantasia, because you only get one slash in Tales of Destiny, where you get two slashes in Tales of Phantasia, and I I wasn't entirely happy when I played it, and I kind of forced myself through it because at the time Tales of Destiny 2 was about to come out, and I wanted to finish it before I played Tales of Destiny 2. Um, so that's why I kind of lower it. However, I do like the PlayStation 2 remake of Destiny. Because for one, the music sounds it's more connected to 2 in a lot of ways. There's some extra stuff there that gives you some more background on like the Swordians, and you actually just see them the canon that was created by Destiny 2, where you actually get to see the physical bodies of Atwhite and Dimlos and all them. That was implemented into the PlayStation 2 version, and I thought that was really, really good. So, like, if I was rating the PlayStation 2 version of Destiny, I would put it here. But as it is for the PlayStation version, it's here. And I plan on playing the PlayStation version again. I lost my copy when I moved to Japan, so I'm going to go buy another one because it's a very cheap game to buy. So I'm going to play the PlayStation version again and see if my opinion changes on it. So next, Tales of Eternia, S. S, 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 S. Tales of Eternia is such a good game. I love Tales of Eternia. I like that they went through the effort to actually make a second language for the game that Meridi speaks in the Celestian language. And I like how instead of the time travel thing that you had in Phantasia, and then the world above, when you're in Tales of Destiny, when it's like covering the world, you get a second world and you can travel between both worlds. I really, really think Tales of Eternia, for the PlayStation era of Tales series, it is the pinnacle, and I agree with all the Japanese people who say so. I think the characters are interesting. The the only thing that disappoints me about Eternia, and this is not like a slight against the game because this is just the way the game was written, and it's kind of similar in the sense to Phantasia in that way. Is in this particular way is the love story that's there is kind of like even in the ending, like Rid and Farah are together, but it doesn't seem like they're like together kind of thing. Kind of like at the end of Phantasia, like Mint and Kless really like each other, but you don't see them actually together. So I think that's kind of a little bit of a point of kind of similarity between the two, but I think in terms of the overall story, the every like just the game itself is so good. Plus with all the little Easter eggs from because what like for example the battle arena in Tales of Phantasia, the PlayStation version got Lilith from Tales of Destiny, which wasn't in the original Tales of Phantasia in the Super Famicom version because she hadn't been created yet. And Tales of Eternia, you get a summon Destiny, which you can only use once every 30 minutes of real time, which is really funny. And it's a summon that just summons all the characters from Destiny 2 to do a whole bunch of damage. It's really cool. You have a summon called Zekindus, which is actually Dallas from Tales of Phantasia, which is really cool. And you don't have to fight him. He just joins you, and then when you feel like it, you go to the last dungeon in the basement, and you can fight him whenever you want to. And then if you use Indignation on him when he's got 60,000 hit points or less, then it recreates the scene from the intro of Tales of Phantasia. It's really cool. And so this Tales of Eternia, I think, is one of the best Tales games ever made. And that's just not like just in the PlayStation era. I think it's one of the best, period. I think that it just follows. It just does so much good. It takes all of the great things about Phantasia, Destiny, and slams it into one, and improves on the battle system, makes it much faster. It's the first one to incorporate 3 swings of your sword before you can before you can choose to do your special attacks. It was the one that set the ground for everything coming after it. Basically, it was the battle system that pushed the series ahead, I think. So that's that. Tales of Destiny 2, my favorite Tales game, period. This game, oh my god, I like, as much as I said I'm not a big fan of Destiny 2, oh my god, I love this game. The battle system is difficult. It's a lot of people complain about this and that how hard it is to get combos, and how the monsters, even the random battle monsters near the end of the game, are just incredibly difficult to fight. The leveling system is interesting because you can change what your stats are. You can, based on what titles you have. This is something that started with this game, and it goes forward with all the other Tales games after that. So I really, 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 really love this game, and the story is good. The love story is written extremely well. They reincorporated the time travel thing from Tales of Phantasia, which was done very well, and it gave you more. It expanded on the universe of Destiny, and I think that's what gives. Destiny had an interesting world. The world building of Destiny was very interesting, but when you include what you learn out of Destiny 2, and forget the PlayStation 2 version of Destiny for a minute, think of just the PlayStation version of Destiny versus PlayStation 2 Tales of Destiny 2. The world building that it expands on, you get to see the Swordians as their human forms. You get to go through the Tench Senso with them, you get to see all these historical events happen that only strengthen Destiny, which I think that because of Destiny 2, I like Destiny more. Because of the world building and the background stories that it adds to Destiny, it makes Destiny a better game. And I think when it comes to a sequel of any game, if your sequel, like for example in Star Wars, like Empire Strikes Back to A New Hope, right? Empire Strikes Back it makes the world bigger, it does all these things to it that improves on what A New Hope had laid the groundwork for, right? I mean, of course, that's a trilogy, so that's a little bit different, but the idea is that the second in the series actually improves on and expands on what the original laid the groundwork for. And Destiny 2 does that in a way that I don't think any other game has done in terms of a sequel, the amount of new things. This also has a lot of religious undertones to it. So people who don't like religious undertones in their game might not like it. With Elrain and all that stuff, but and gods and all this and goddesses and stuff like that. But I mean, even that was really well done, and the fact that they got the voice actress who did the voice for Haman Khan from Zeta Gundam, just to play Elrain is just, oh my god. And I think that and I'm probably taking a little more time than I would on any other game in the series because I just love Tales of Destiny 2 so much. It's only in Japanese, and I don't know of any fan translation, so if people can't read Japanese, you're not going to be able to understand what's going on in the game. Me, I'm lucky enough that I know, and I can read it, I can play it, and not, worry about anything. The game is just absolutely amazing, and anybody who can understand what's going on in the game must play it. It is, in my opinion, the best Tales game ever made. So I'm going to move it up here. I'm going to move it ahead of Phantasia, because I think Destiny 2 is the best Tales game ever made. Now, I always forget which one came out next. Was it Rebirth or Symphonia? Because Symphonia came out on GameCube. I think it was around the same time. Let's see. I am not a fan of Symphonia. I do not like Symphonia. This is a game that, because it was the first Tales game to go to the United States since Eternia as Tales of Destiny 2, when there really was a Tales of Destiny 2 already, a lot of people really like this game. I will admit that I started listening to Day After Tomorrow, because of Starry Heavens. So I'm not going to say that it didn't influence my taste in music at all. But as a game, I don't like it very much. And what makes me not like this game even more is that it became the catalyst for most of the Tales games going forward from Abyss on. Well, at least until Arise, right? And Arise can just piss off. But it created the whole 3D battle system, and to me, Tales needs to be in a 2D environment. I think that it makes it more interesting that way, and I think that all that running around just makes the battles go longer. So when you're trying to spend time leveling up and grinding out a little bit, it just takes more time, and I'm not a big fan of the system. I will say that Symphonia is one of the games that I really, really don't like in the series. And the story too, I watched the animated version of it because I hadn't, played the game in a long time, and I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to sit through the game. I have the PlayStation 2 version of the game, but I decided, I'll just watch the animated version and the story was kind of meh. So I'm not a big fan of Symphonia at all. I'll leave it at that. All right, Rebirth. Rebirth. This game, I'll give it an A, but I will admit that anybody who has played this game and listened and you know, they've gone through it. The story, it's a very it's a it's a very divisive game. I'll say that. The fact that the battle system went back to 2D but in a 3-line system, I find extremely interesting. It's a very fun battle system to play. It's an easier battle system than Destiny 2. So it's a little easier for like newbies to, or people who aren't used to the Tales series to play. Destiny 2 requires a lot of, I mean, I've played and gone through this game at least like 5 or 6 times, and I still can't play through the battle system properly. So that should tell you how hard that game is. Tales of Rebirth. I've done one full playthrough, and I was in the middle of another one. And I just kind of stopped. I got kind of bored. But the story can be divisive because it deals with you know, like racism between two different groups, like the humans and the Huma and the what the heck are they called? The Huma and the, I forget the name of the monster human people. And then it talks about the people who are mixed, and there's a lot of, you know, it deals with like the tension between the different races, you could say. Which the director of the game actually went to Yugoslavia or something like that, and he saw the aftermath of what had happened there, and he based his he based the story off of that. And what this game gets a lot of complaints about is that the game is just depressing. Like, the main character, Vague, is always depressed. He's very one-dimensional, so I'm not a big Vague fan just because of his, like, oh, I have to save Claire, blah, 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 kind of stuff. But this game gets a lot of flack for being the darkest and the most down, like, depressing Tales game, because most of the characters are just like, you know, they're always depressed about something, and Titre is the only character who's like really happy, and he really stands out because of that. So he gets annoying because everybody else is such a downer that you know, you have a crazy happy character like that, and it just like it doesn't fit very well. I mean, of course you had to have that one happy character there to, you know, like keep people, you know, happy or whatnot, but and to kind of like have a balance to the depressing atmosphere of the game. But like, I think it was just done a little, it was too overboard with his character. And I'm not saying he's a bad character, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that they pushed too hard with one character being the happy character and all the rest being all depressed about something. So, like, when you have Vague, Hilda, and Eugene together, it's just depressing. It's horribly depressing because Eugene is always apologizing to Annie about her father, and then Hilda is just depressed because of her situation. I won't talk about it, but just she's always depressed, and Vague is always depressed, and then Mal he looks younger, so he tries to be a little happy, but then he gets dragged down with the rest of them, and then Teacher's just sitting there like, oh, I'll be happy and happy-go-lucky and all this other stuff, and then everybody's like, and they just stay depressed. And it's the only Tales game that has a sad ending. And so a lot of people bash it for that too. I think I like that ending. I think the ending of Tales of Rebirth is actually really, really good, and it really does tug at your heartstrings. I think that compared to, you know, like Tales of Destiny 2, which had a really happy ending in the end. I mean, it kind of the Tales of Destiny 2 ending is really special. It's still the best ending in Tales, but well, you could argue between Tales of Phantasia and Tales of Destiny 2 which one is the best, but I think that Tales of Rebirth, the ending, because it's kind of a sad ending, it's different within the series. So I really really I like the ending of Tales of Rebirth. It's different. All right. Next should be Legendia, if I recall correctly. So Legendia. Here we go. I have to admit, I've only played it through once. I haven't played it for a very long time. And it does have a happy ending, but I'll give it a B. It's kind of average. I like that it's polygon characters on a 2D plane. I think that the fact that they changed the character from having a sword to using his fist is interesting. And when they had the name Majin Ken, the Ken has always been sword, but with Majin Ken in Tales of Legendia, they did it with a fist. So the kanji in Japanese is actually different for both of them. I thought that was a nice play on words. I don't remember it too well, because I haven't played it in such a long time, but I think that it's not the worst game in the series. It's not the best game in the series, based on my impressions that are from like 15 years ago. 15 plus years ago, actually. But I want to play this again at some point, go through it again. I will say I do not hate the game, and so I'll leave it at now. The final game that I played of the Tales series, and the last one we will talk about is Tales Abyss. Terrible. I hate this game. This game is the reason why I stopped playing the Tales series. I hate Luke. I absolutely despise Luke. I think he's the weakest main character of any main character in the Tales series. Or out of all the ones that I played, because I didn't play anything after this because of this game. This game soured me on the entire series. And the fact it was a 10th anniversary game. It was supposed to be like this big, like anniversary. We have to celebrate Tales being 10 years old, and because it was 10 years after Phantasia that they released this one. But the problem with this is also a slight against Legendia 2. So it's basically a slight between these games, and this is not the game's fault, but it's a fault of Namco. And that is that they were releasing a Tales game almost every year at this point. So you had Phantasia, which is originally Super Famicom, and then there was, I think, 2 years in between that and Destiny. Then it was another couple years between Destiny and Eternia, and then it was after Eternia. I think it was Eternia was 99, and then Destiny 2 was like 2001 or something like that. Where they were releasing them every couple years. It wasn't like a super fast pace they were doing it. Tales of Phantasia on PlayStation was in between Eternia and Destiny. So and I'm not gonna count that because that's just a remake, and it's just using the same battle system and the same things as Destiny to just make it look like Destiny, but it's still Phantasia. So that's why I compared it to the Super Famicom version, because it was 94. Actually, I think it's like 3 years in between these two games. And the reason why I got a remake was because of because when the Super Famicom version came out, it came out between two massive titles, Chrono Trigger and Dragon Quest VI. It was like in the month in between, it was within a month in between both of those games getting released that Tales of Phantasia got released, and it was the first Super Famicom game to have full voice and all this other, have voices in it and stuff like that, for an RPG, and it got basically covered up by Dragon Quest 6 and Chrono Trigger. So this is a very sad game right here. Actually, no, it was Live Alive, I think. I can't remember. God, I can't remember exactly what it was. But it came out in between two very popular games. I know Dragon Quest 6 was one of them. So Phantasia got a remake to try to, try to get sales on it, because Destiny actually sold quite well. So they were trying to get people to focus on Phantasia. But if you don't count that remake, then it was about 2 to 3 years in between games in general. And it was after Destiny 2 where they started doing one every year, and that was with, Symphonia, and then Rebirth, and then Legendia, and then Abyss, and then on and on and on. And this was a time where the Tales series was getting oversaturated. And this is where the story writing took a massive hit. And I really, really don't... I think that was part of the reason why Abyss was garbage, in my opinion. I really think that's why. I really hated it. Is that they were just running out of ideas, and they just had to throw something out there. Now, saying that, the idea of the phonemes and, the music-related stuff, and, the fact that there's a world under instead of above, like Tales of Destiny would have the world above, and then, or like with Eternia, where it's two worlds that are kind of connected together through this one middle ground or whatever. I thought that was interesting. I thought that doing something like that was original. I thought that it kind of gave a different spin on that whole concept. But when it comes to a role-playing game, you have to be connected to the characters. And I was not connected to any of the characters in the game whatsoever. I cannot stand any of the characters. I think only Tyr was in any way interesting to me at all in Tales of Abyss. I hated all the characters. I hated Jade. I hated the little girl. I forget her name. I didn't like Guy very much. I didn't like the princess girl here. I forget her. Natalia, I think it was. I didn't like any of these characters. So, the Abyss was the reason I quit playing the Tale series. That's how, if I could put it, even lower than D, I would. Because I just hate this game so much. I hate the opening song, Karma, from Bump of Chicken. I can't stand that song. At least Phantasia, or not Phantasia, Symphonia has Day After Tomorrow, where I can listen to that. I like that, but I hate the song. This game just needs to die. So that's the end of this tier list, because I didn't play any of them after that. So I highly recommend people go back. You play Phantasia, play Eternia, play Destiny 2 if you can understand it. There's no fan subs or anything, and I'm not going to do it. That game is so long to translate all the dialogue and stuff would be a pain in the butt. Unless somebody wants to pay me for it and pay me lots of money for it, I'll do it. But I won't fan translate that shit. I will not. I think that because it'd probably be expensive for everybody to get overseas now, because people shooting up prices, the whole used market in overseas is terrible. If you can get Destiny for a decent price, I would play Destiny. I think Destiny's an interesting game. This one you can get in overseas is Tales of Destiny 2. It's not Tales of Destiny, it's Eternia. If you can find it, I would recommend it. It's the best game of the PlayStation era in terms of battle system out of all of the Tales games, plus all the Easter eggs in it are really interesting. Tales of Phantasia, I'm pretty sure the PlayStation version has a fan sub, so if you can't read Japanese, get that one. You don't have to play the full voice version, or whatever. But that's basically where I stand with the Tales series. So, that's all for this video, and talk to you next time.